You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, it's AFTERBUZZ TV's Game Control Live.
Hey guys, and welcome to Game Control Live. We're doing a little bit of old school song here with some. Wow, that's really loud, John. It's really loud.
We don't need to hear.
I gotta make sure that everybody can hear it.
Deku Palace from Majora's Mask, which is actually my favorite Zelda game of the 3D Zelda games.
Okay.
Factoid. All right. Anyways, all the way across the table, we got Grant Kohrmann.
Howdy, everybody.
And next to Grant Kohrmann, the lovely Rachel. Oh, wait, Rachel
Ouch,
Moore.
ouch. Hello, hi.
Patrick Dees.
What is up, everybody?
What's up, Patrick?
What's going on, man? Good to be here.
You're looking lovely. I'm gonna use all the same things I say about Rachel for you. You're looking
Please.
lovely today.
I'll be cosplaying a little bit later.
I like you're basically like a model-esque showing up for ants.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm in
all right.
heels. I'm 7 feet tall today.
You're a little more covered up than usual.
Right,
Just a little bit more
Yeah.
covered up. But also incredibly gorgeous today, Kaori Takee.
Hi, guys. And you're Dave Klein.
And I'm Dave Klein. Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Dave Klein!
Yay! And in the booth we have John Quick playing what song?
John?
We're playing Deku Palace, Techno remix by Timn Lally. And you know what?
Anything like Legend of Zelda.
But you know what else we're playing?
We're also playing the tune to You Should Call In at 424-256-1729.
Oh, you
Nailed
son of a
it.
bitch! You stole that.
Nailed
Oh,
it.
I didn't know that's what you. I thought you were waiting for me because you had to pause. 424-256-1729. Make sure to call in. And yes, Alyssa White. Kyrie's hair does look amazing. So today, guys,
Thank you.
we're going to be talking about the Tokyo Game Show because it is this weekend. So let's talk about it. We got a whole lot of big notes about that. We've got Hiroshi Yamauchi sadly has passed away, but what legacy did he leave behind? A whole number of quick hits for you guys. But first, let's jump on what I think everybody really wants to talk about. Dark Souls. Oh, Grand Theft Auto 5,
Yes.
Very much
which just came out this week. So guys, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out this week. Let's just first talk about the fact that 3 days sold over 1 billion copies. It is the new
$1 billion.
Yeah, $1 billion. Yeah.
Sorry, $1 billion, but it is the new. 1 billion copies would be $1 billion. That'd be $60 billion if we sold 1 billion copies. But it's now the quickest game to reach that landmark, or last being Call of Duty Black Ops 2. So 16 days, I think, for that one.
Yeah, I think it was like a
long-
week, actually,
yeah.
maybe.
That is insane.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, no other entertainment property at all, movie, book, anything has reached $1 billion as fast. It's
always been
incredible.
Like 100 million, like a million, like a couple 100 million for movies in a week or opening weekend. This was insane.
I mean, ridiculous. Have you guys logged on? Have you been online and like seen your friends list? So last night, 14 of my 16 friends that were online were playing Grand Theft Auto. This is it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I wonder how long it'll last though. I mean, yeah, the initial sales are good, and like 14 out of your 16 friends are playing it right now. But will it be the same way in?
Yeah,
two
everyone
months,
just bought
3
it. No one
months?
can. They're all done. Everyone just bought it. this week.
Well, who gives a shit? It just made $1 billion.
Exactly.
I think, yeah, that's mission accomplished.
This is just proof that video games is the entertainment at the top. It's over movies. It's over TV. It's all about video games. That's the moneymaker, guys.
I
It
like
really
your-
did just surpass movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been interesting to watch the sales figures here because you talk about like these annualized franchises, right? Like we see an Assassin's Creed every year, and we see there's some level like we see a Call of Duty every year, and I love the fact that Rockstar takes its time. It takes 5 years. This game it's amazing to see what somebody can do with an unlimited budget and like unlimited amount of time. Have you guys been playing?
Yes.
Oh no.
No.
Not in the slightest.
No, actually,
of course
I actually
have.
haven't. I haven't picked it up yet, so you guys
Okay.
will have to inform me, and I'm looking forward to hear what you guys have
Don't
to
give
say.
it away.
Here, give me. I'm kind of a Grand Theft Auto skeptic.
Okay.
And I'll
It
present that
exists.
opinion.
I'll let you know.
I
As
mean,
does Bigfoot.
here's the like.
And in the
I
game,
loved
too.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I know.
I loved Grand Theft Auto 3 when it came out. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was revolutionary, and since then they've all felt like the exact same thing to me. So as you guys
Well, they
all,
are
and
sequels.
as a billion-dollar franchise, please explain to me what's so fantastic about 5 and why this is the greatest new thing since sliced bread.
It fixes a lot of problems I've had with the Grand Theft Auto games. Like, you can switch back and forth between a number of characters really quickly. The downtime that you had when playing any one of the other characters from the other series of the game is removed because you have other characters to go to within just within this one game. So like that's one of my biggest, for me, the biggest additions to the game. And like the way that you go, you come upon each character, you load up either like I switched back to Franklin and he's actually doing something. Like he wasn't doing it. Like I switched to another character. He's like having coffee. So there's a lot of other little gameplay tweaks and twerks that they've implemented that I love.
So they kind of live on their own while you're not playing as them.
For the
Absolutely.
most part, I mean, they won't go on complete missions, but
No, but like, but you'll
Like, oh, you finished the game for me. Thank you.
they won't earn money. Goddammit.
No, but you'll be playing, and then you'll zoom into one of the other characters, and all of a sudden he's in the middle of a gunfight with cops. Like they're
Yeah.
are off living their own worlds, and it's kind of neat being able to hot switch. I think from so first of all, we'll talk about the characters. I think this game eliminates that what they call ludonarrative dissonance, right? So that term means that sometimes mechanics in a game act inconsistently with the narrative, right? You're forced to like full 4, Dave. You missed that one, right?
I played some of it. I didn't go all into it.
You play as Nico Bellic, right? And the whole beginning of the story is this whole like he's leaving the old world. He's trying to make a better life for himself in the States. He shows up here and then he just becomes a mass murderer. It's totally inconsistent with what the narrative they're trying to realize. And with the 3 people, it allows Rockstar to show weakness. Not every character has to be like this all character. He doesn't have to
doesn't
be.
have to be a killer right off the bat. Like not every character has to be a thug or like
Right.
like you have 4 different themes basically. You have 4 different
So it makes the
personalities.
narrative stronger.
I think a lot stronger because people are allowed to show weakness. They all have their own motivations.
See, I actually find that really interesting because part of the thing that I guess like the sandbox thing was what made Grand Theft Auto so revolutionary for the time. And after I played with it for Grand Theft Auto 3, I just got kind of tired. Like, okay, I get it. It's a sandbox. That's cool. And it's kind of like I'm the type of player who needs a strong narrative in a game.
Yep.
In a sense, to
Well, this
really
one
interest
ramps
me.
up the narrative
It's-
as
yeah,
well.
it's
Or like really unique gameplay or something like that.
It
So-
also has unique gameplay.
As I was talking to you, I was mentioning it to you earlier, they've actually removed a lot of the barriers that prohibit you from enjoying the narrative as well. Meaning, like, there's an actual the story is more well integrated with the world. And like, honestly, like, you could have transported Nico Bellic's story to another city. And the fact there weren't any other characters that were really necessary, like the 4 that are in Grand Theft Auto 5, made Nico's story a little bit harder to get into as well.
If you want the Italian mob boss to have the best life, what you're saying is just stop playing as him, so he'll always go out to coffee and be with his family, and therefore he will be having the best life. Explain to me the gameplay though, because of the gameplay mechanics. Are they the same thing as Grand Theft Auto 4? But they really tweaked it and switched it up.
I mean, I think it's better in every single way. So Rockstar over the years has released several different games, like the Max Payne, right? They really refined the shooting. So the shooting's technically awesome. Sorry, I'm getting some sweet feedback in the headphones.
All right, by chance is anything sitting on
I think it's
your
because I
cord?
elbow striked my cord by accident. I was like, fuck you, cord, boom.
I think this game's better in every way. I mean, I'd like to hear what you think, but like the driving feels unbelievable, right? They've leveraged a lot of the work they did in their driving.
The driving feels like LA Noire.
Okay.
It does feel the same.
Well, they've had years and years to
make it
perfect
like
all
LA
these
Noire.
mechanics. Yeah, to make your car drive around like a.
They've had years and years to make it drive like LA Noire.
No, that feels so good. The shooting's fantastic. The driving's amazing. And this game technically is a marvel. It is huge. The scale of this game is incredible.
Well, that's what,
I don't
like,
think
when
I
you're
can ever
playing
cover
4 and 3, like the amount of data that obviously Rockstar has been keeping track of every single thing that you do in each one of these games. Like you load up the info screen in Red Dead Redemption, for example, or Max Payne, previous Grand Theft Autos, like you see like this list of, oh, I've done this, I've ran for this many hours, I've shot this many people, I've had this many headshots. Like they're one of the companies that pioneered providing you with that kind of information. Grand Theft Auto keeps track of like, even if they don't show it to you, so much more crap. It's like amazing how like
Well, it has to.
somebody said that the only thing that they dislike about it is that it is showing the real age of these consoles, meaning like they're only able to achieve what they were visually on this console. If they had another console, or if they were working on the other one, the new next generation, they would have been able to totally blow
But
it
they
up.
have so much to offer in this game. Like, I did so many crazy things. I drove a plane, I crashed the plane, and then I beat up a guy. He followed me in my house and killed me. Like, just so much fun stuff.
So Joseph Bose is saying that the game's so popular made the news today on CNBC. I mean, that's true of like Modern Warfare too. I think any major hit title does. It's been on Fox News every day since the release, according to Alyssa White. That's good news.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's been in conjunction with the
Right, the
Navy
shooting.
Yard shooting.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Most specifically,
Alyssa White says
the EFF, it's the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, is now calling for an open boycott of Fox News because of their coverage of the Grand Theft Auto and video games this week in relation to the Navy Yard shooting. So like that's, I mean, like, yes, we know that the news outlets are covering these big games releases purely from the money and possibly from the violence aspect, but Entertainment Software Association wants you to boycott Fox News.
Well, let's talk about the
good. Yeah. Well, no. Look, I don't have anything against Fox News. I'm just more pissed that they're making an association where there was none.
Yeah.
There wasn't even any association until they're like, oh, well, maybe let's just bring up video games when there's no association for this particular
and
shooting.
I'm not going to get into like the real meat and potatoes of whether or not video games and violence really is a great argument. It's just interesting that the Entertainment Software Association, which is like a party to every software developer in the industry, is leading a campaign to now like let Fox News that they've lost viewers because of their stance.
So let me just
be clear.
So I want to go back to Grand Theft Auto though. Is that Alyssa White saying the controls are vastly improved? And my big question is, the most important question: how are the radio channels?
That's real cool.
It is so like.
In my opinion, is less cool than it used to be.
I think it's just because it's the same note, right? Like it's that same biting commentary on.
Yeah, you could switch to that channel on the other games, and now every single channel has that like in your face like tongue-in-cheek humor.
I think what I love about this game is it's a world where nobody lies, right? Like the politicians on the radio are like, well, if anybody messes with me, we're just gonna nuke you. You know, like it's just very transparent. I think.
I can't world will be like that.
I think, Dave, I'm really excited for you to get into this because, first of all, it is like, you know, like when you play a lot of these open world games, they're big for being big's sake. I've never seen a game that's just so incredibly dense. There's something to do in every part of the map. There's something going on. It's none of the art assets feel recycled.
So it feels more lived in.
100%, and just dense. There's something to do around every corner.
Saints Row was getting close to that. Saints Row 4 was getting close to that, but there were corners of the city that like there wasn't much to do, and like you had to go back to the center of the city in order to get back into the main
I think technically it's not even close. I wholly disagree with that. I think Saints Row is interesting from the fact that like it's a tonal shift, but every single art asset feels hand done. And again, it's a tribute to what you can do with unlimited money.
I was gonna say, I'd agree. I don't think there's any way you could say that Saints Row 4 could hold up technically speaking.
And it never
just budget-wise, they had such a bigger budget.
Well, they're saying $330 million, which is remarkable.
From movie standpoint, like making $1 billion, that's pretty good.
It's remarkable.
Were any of you guys successful with the app on your iPhone?
The iFruit app?
That works out.
It's not working out
So,
for me.
and that scares me a little bit about the online piece because the Rockstar,
It's
their
the
club.
iOS 7, actually. That's the problem.
Right. No, but like apparently people can't log in. I haven't even tried it yet, but though I'm really excited. Like, here's one of those things that just really, it's just a throwaway piece. But they've got an app that you can download on your iPhone. You can teach your dog in-game tricks. You have a dog. His name's Chop. He's awesome. And it's just like if that hadn't have been there, nobody would have cared. Nobody would have faulted it. Wouldn't have had like a lower score in any way. But the amount of love, I think best put, you can really see the money on the screen. It's really an astonishing piece of technology. Like it never loads either. It's got an initial load, and then it's got the initial load, which is a little bit long. But after that,
switched characters like from across town and like
sure, but it does this neat like transition out and then back down. But like the sheer scope of this game, I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah. Well,
I
so-
drove from the Hollywood Hills to downtown in less than 4 seconds.
And also, can I say,
Well, it's not connected to reality.
Well,
I gotta
Alyssa
say,
White telling me that there's a lot of hip hop on the radio, which I approve of. And watch her saying,
hip hop.
bet you if Dave has GTA, he'll play as Franklin. Which guy's Franklin?
He's the
Franklin's the
black guy.
gangbanger.
all right,
Yeah,
I'm
he
down
lives.
with
He lives in.
I shoot
sideways.
He lives in
Funny, but-
Compton.
I have a certain amount of loyalty to Franklin because the original San Andreas had like those are the characters that I liked playing and like I liked experiencing their story much more than I liked the New York characters, unfortunately. So
I mean, I know you're not a fan of the GTA series, but you don't even think of it as a GTA series. Kind of just think of it as a really good.
It's not
game.
that I'm not a fan. It's more about just like more of the same thing, and I just didn't feel like I
It's
needed
just
more of the same
different.
thing.
What's interesting
That's
is
what it was for me.
kind of the
different, Dave.
It's different.
I think you'll
And
appreciate.
I don't think. I guess I'll say like from the previous games, not this game because I
Yeah.
haven't played it, but the previous games. I didn't think the gameplay mechanics themselves were that great. So outside of the fact that the open world structure was so unique,
You can
play
once you get
tennis
tired
in
of
it.
that, I don't think the gameplay mechanics
I wash my
themselves held up that
hands.
well.
I think you're bang on. I think that they've always been less than stellar, right? It's that open world conceit that if you're
Right.
going to try and do everything, you're not going to do one thing very well.
Right.
And then Rockstar just basically said, "Hey, look, I want to be a best in class in everything. Like the driving's fantastic, the gunplay's fantastic, but the cool thing about this one is it's all about heists, right? So you get your guys and you plan out your heist. So the first heist in the
Okay.
game is a jewelry store.
And the way that they do it is, I mean, it's phenomenal. I just reviewed another game that will go unmentioned that was centered on doing heists, and the fact that Grand Theft Auto was yeah.
Just
I what?
jump.
The
Sorry,
fact that
what?
you can like do heists in Grand Theft Auto, and that you can do them with such detail and attention to detail is just.
I just want to be the guy who drives the van. Get in the van! All right, we got to move on though. I'm sure I know Patrick will get back to Grand Theft
Yeah,
Auto.
probably. I'll just be talking about this.
But we gotta
We'll
talk
do
about
a
some other
rewind at
topics.
some
So,
point.
We'll sabotage and halfway through
So-
get back to it.
so let's talk about the Tokyo Game Show.
Okay.
So the Tokyo Game Show is happening right now, and obviously the biggest news is that Dark Souls 2 has a new trailer.
That's not the biggest.
Not really. Actually, you know what?
I
No.
hadn't even realized.
I almost
that,
called you right
honestly.
then. I'm like, did you see this?
I hadn't even I hadn't
You know,
heard
the thing about it, though, honestly, I'm not going to talk much about it. I will talk briefly about it because they didn't show anything new. It was all stuff from the E3 gameplay
Yeah.
footage. There's nothing new about it, so to me, I was just like, all right, whatever. But
more of the mirror.
what I
night.
thought was cool is that there are other announcements that I thought were exciting because I just love seeing they actually do a lot of announcements of Japanese titles
Yeah.
during the Tokyo
Yep.
Game Show. So I liked seeing all those announcements and some of the bigger news coming out. It was really just some of the PS4 stuff coming out that we're finding out, like that PS4 we're finding out it's selling at a loss. The hardware is selling at a loss.
about $60.
But PS Plus will definitely make up for that.
Well, they're
pretty
saying that
quickly.
PS Plus and digital titles will make up for it, and I was like, well, I mean, like right now, is everybody like how many? I mean, I know they said that PS Plus is now receiving much wider adoption than it was when it was first introduced, and way more adoption than like than they were used to with the original version of the PS3 and their network. But do they really think that that's going to be like day one, like?
I do. I
40,
think they're banking on
50%?
it, right? I mean, I think a lot of developers have built in a lot of that online functionality, right? So I think very much so that getting people plugged into that ecosystem will help recoup that.
Yeah,
and we know
because it's
that.
also a monthly fee or a yearly fee that they're doing for the PS Plus,
Yeah.
so it's going to end up making them a lot more money.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's in their best interest to have them plugged into that ecosystem, and we know, like, as they continue, as we go out, like their manufacturing costs are going to be significantly cheaper, so they're selling at a loss out of
And
the
it's only
gate.
At the
$60.
beginning, yeah.
I expected it to be more than that because most consoles are like what? I think with the
Where did you
Xbox,
read that?
it
Because
was
I thought they refused to release how
Yeah,
much
I
it
didn't.
was.
I didn't.
some people were doing some like extrapolation from it. It was on a couple of the major news websites.
So another thing that they're coming out with and talking about is that there's going to be some cloud system that they're going to have. I'm not remembering the name of it.
Oh.
Gaikai.
Gaikai.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's not necessarily backwards compatible. They're not giving much details about it, but it'll allow you to play PS3 games on your PS4.
I've
Also
had
your
some
PS
serious
Vita
doubts
TV.
about that service.
So it's very possible that it's going to be. It sounds like a streaming service like Netflix.
Very similar to On Live.
Yep.
If
So,
you
yeah.
played that before.
Or like
and,
On Live.
Like the technology is great. It still needs bandwidth. And that's like the biggest issue is like I've been waiting year after year after year. I've actually had an Xbox and been done with my Xbox 360 waiting for the Xbox One, and my internet service has not vastly increased the amount of bandwidth that I have like it has in European nations. So honestly, I don't have the bandwidth right now to stream 5 games. I don't have the bandwidth to stream a game in real time, for that matter.
And they've been cagey about details about Gaikai, right? They acquired them in 2012, and really haven't said much, right? I mean, this is the first time that they're actually starting to lay out some of what their plans of how they're going to utilize those guys.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see, it's the vision versus actual implementation.
Right.
I'll be curious to see what it actually looks like.
Well, I mean, the one thing that would be exciting to me about is if they actually allowed it to make the system like, oh, well, you bought this game on PS3, you can somehow register it, and then you can play on your PS4.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be nice, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm hoping for. But I mean, who knows what they're
I
going to
kind
do?
of doubt that.
So Capcom's Deep Down, that's one of the titles on PS4 that had me really excited.
Dark Souls Light.
It's very similar to Dark Souls in the way it looks. It's like a medieval fantasy dark.
Procedurally generated. That's its like big.
But
its
I didn't realize it was procedurally generated. And the
Yeah.
other thing is
Some portions of it.
they've announced that it's going to be free to play, which actually,
Yeah.
if anything, deters me from wanting to get it.
Now, talk to me a little bit about why that is.
Yeah, why?
That really
free
interests
for me
me.
to try, so
Well,
fuck it.
Well, no, I'm interested because I've got to think. So for me, free-to-play games right now, really, initially I was the prospect of playing a free-to-play game and then having microtransactions excited me. But then I flipped the script because recently I've thought I don't want to be in-game thinking about money constantly,
Oh, yeah.
how they're gating progress and how they're trying to monetize the title. So for me, I'd rather pay my $60, get that out of the way, and then have just a complete experience.
More so now than I would have 3 years ago.
Because yeah, absolutely. And so
Well, to
I'm
me,
curious to
is
see.
that
Well,
why?
to me, like, this is a major title that you normally pay $60
Yep.
for, right? And to me, I always think of free to play as something a design aspect that ruins game design, because there's going to be something that they're going to want to entice you for to pay money, whether it be a time gate that makes it so like, oh, this makes it so you can achieve things quicker, or whatever it may be. It's something that I would rather just pay $60 and have it be a tightly play where everything in the game is designed to work.
I
for
should hope that they do it that way. But I have been so dumbfounded about how willing these companies are, any company for that matter, to go out and make a free-to-play game that has a time gate on it. Because I think it would have provided for an initial spurt of sales, or like some person that's gullible that wants, it's like, oh my god, my 30 seconds are up, I need to buy
But
another
I mean, I'm sure
pack
it's not
of
going to be a
30
time gate type of
seconds.
thing, but it'll be something where like, okay, well, look
Ridiculous.
at this crazy gear that you could have. You could earn it by playing for 15 hours and grinding, or you could buy it for $10.
Well,
you know,
that's
I mean, that's
pay-to-win.
usually the type of thing that they do for these types of games.
Yep.
Like,
Why doesn't
there was
everybody play League of
actually when
Legends?
Patrick and I were at E3, there was a game that we were looking at. I'm kind of blank. I'm not E3 at PAX.
Oh yeah.
That we were looking
The
at.
Digital Extremes title.
Yeah.
Just basing it. Yeah.
But yeah, like that title was
Warframe?
doing Warframe.
Yes.
So that was doing the same sort of thing where like it's free
My
to play,
brother
but then
loves
you
that.
buy stuff.
Yeah, it's
and
sexy.
you know it's fine, but like to me, like this is a game I was excited about. I thought like to me this was a game that looked like a reason to buy a PS4 for me.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're announcing that to me is now a reason like okay, well now I just don't even like I'll wait. I'm gonna wait and see instead of getting it right away. I'm gonna wait and see. It almost makes me like that's almost a reason for me not to want a PS4 as much.
I don't think that
because this is a game that I'd wait for.
I
now.
don't think that you need to be a MOBA or a battle arena, a multiplayer online battle arena, in order to adopt the things that made League of Legends microtransactions system successful. You don't need to have a 5 versus 5 player versus player atmosphere. You can be a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. You can be a first-person shooter for that matter, and adopt the
But this wasn't an MMO
costumes
style
and the
game.
characters. And I don't know why. I mean, you could even be a mobile game, honestly, and adopt the way that League of Legends has done its microtransactions. I am tired of getting these free-to-play games and running up against a pay gate. A pay gate that is so on the face, like buy your sack of 500 gold coins.
Right.
And I'm like, screw you, uninstall. I'm going to rail against your game in
That's
online
how
and
it-
social media.
That's
like,
what social media is all about,
yeah.
is the free-to-play games like that.
Yeah, I don't know. To a degree, video games represent a level of escapism, right? The reason I play games is because I know, like, in life, there's a level of uncertainty. I worry, like, you know, I'm a business owner, so I worry about my business. You worry about relationships. And I play games to get out of that space because I know
Free to
there's
business.
there's all this, like, I don't know, there's a level of uncertainty in life. And I know in a video game, with the right amount of button presses, that there's a win state. I don't want to be thinking about money the entire time.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's
no, I'm-
exactly. It's like you
Or
want to
about
be.
when is it done?
You especially you want to be
Yeah.
in that world, and even if there's like a monetary system in that world, you want to be in that world's monetary system where I don't have to pay real world money.
Yep.
I'm in this
Yeah.
fake world, and it's very world breaking to me when they do that. It's very game design breaking to me when they do that. So I really
Well, when they
don't like
removed
free to play.
I think that they I've seen in studies that when they remove that barrier, when they break down the wall between the pay transactions and the game itself, the profits are just like
They are.
amazing.
That's why people are going free to play. But for
I understand
me,
that,
for
but-
me, it makes me not want the game. It makes me, as this was a title that was making me want a PS4. It almost makes me want an Xbox One more than the PS4 now.
Because of
As
that
this
one
was
game?
no, because this was one of the titles to me that was a reason to buy a PS4
Oh,
over an
interesting.
Xbox One.
Okay.
That's how I was looking at that. When I'd seen this title, I was like, wow, this is one of the reasons I would get a PS4 instead of an Xbox One. And now it's almost like, okay, well, that's one less game that PS4
Yeah.
has over
Right. The
Xbox
value
One to me.
proposition's changed a little bit for you.
But I mean, the people on the chat are saying, Alyssa White saying free to play turns me off as well. Watchtower Base saying it depends on the game. Joseph Boza is saying he agrees with Alyssa. I'm careful about free to play because I'm wondering if the game will actually be worth it. And I think it's true. It depends on the game. But to me, I don't think there will ever be a free to play game that I like as much as a straight up paid $60 game.
League of
So, like, you know, for example, Team Fortress does it well.
I don't play League of
Dota
Legends. So.
2.
Yeah, well, but like
Is that one of your favorite games ever of all time?
Honestly, like they're a completely different experience. It's a competitive game as opposed to
But as like a
deep
single player,
single
game, though, I don't want to ever have to worry about that. I want to be
honestly
entrenched in
think
the world.
mixing the free-to-play dynamics with single-player games is a dangerous proposition. I don't think it's a great idea.
like I think it's done well when
Not
it's
currently,
purely
at least.
aesthetic, right? When you're buying like aesthetic upgrades
sure,
and it's not
fine.
a progress
That's
piece,
totally
it's
fine to
totally
me. I
right.
agree
and,
with you.
And if you, I mean, I think that model absolutely works. Team Fortress does that really well with the hats
League
and
of
whatnot.
Legends does it in an okay way as well. Like you can buy the runes, which increase your performance, but we're talking about marginal increases, stuff that removes a bit of an annoyance, not gives you that percentage benefit over the people you're competing against that really makes you omnipotent and too powerful to compete against. So I mean, like there are ways to do it well while still it not being only aesthetic.
Yeah. I would agree. Sorry that bummed you out, Dave, man. That's
know,
I didn't realize you were that excited about that
He
title.
looks depressed. Look at him.
I know
Yeah.
he's
Look at him.
crushed.
It was
Candy
soul crushing. No, well, it's just like, I mean, to me, like, there are other PS4 games that
Look
look
at
great.
that piece of shit.
I don't
up.
play that either. But I mean, I don't know. Now it's just one of those games where I'm just gonna be waiting for, because it really was to me one of the titles for PS4 that I was waiting to find out more about. That I was like, this game looks so cool.
I was
Well, I
playing
mean-
Amateur Surgeon 3, and the free-to-play gate on that game became thoroughly annoying when a bugged mechanic wasted a mechanical bug in the game, a gameplay bug, genuinely dropped me out of my used up all of my plays
Sure.
for the half-hour period, and it was like, so you want to buy some more? And I'm like, so you want to buy some more? So you want to buy some more? Yeah.
But that man is
Yeah, like-
dying, Grant. Why?
Heartless
Well, the
bastard.
bugged mechanics only made me realize, like, it doesn't matter if I buy any more. I'm not gonna do it because, like, it was bugged and I wasn't able to complete the challenge
I
with
will
my
say
3
this, though.
tries in the first place.
I will say with Deep Down, I'm going to be curious to see how it does profit-wise.
Well, I
I'm
think
going to be curious to see, is this going to be like, as we said, like, people are making crazy money off of
I will say
free-to-play.
this.
Will they actually make more, or will they make less?
Capcom made a dedication a couple months ago. I don't know if you remember it. We talked about it on Game Control. They want to make more free-to-play games.
I think everybody's playing with this model.
changed- Yeah, but Capcom came out with a very specific statement that a significant portion of their business was going to be now dedicated to free-to-play titles.
welcome
And
to
this would be
welcome
the-
to the future. I
and
think
this
we're going
is
to see
I
it.
think that's how
this is
casual
one of the first
gamers
ones.
play.
I think here we're going to see this in the hardcore.
Yeah.
I think the consoles on both sides are going to start experimenting with this model. I think
Who wants to throw
lamentably.
away
I think this is the
$1
future
billion
of gaming.
I agree.
Day
We're going
one
to
sales,
see.
though.
I agree. We're going to see experimentation then with it, and that's why I'm curious to see how it does, because I really hope it fails. So
Okay.
Well,
Oh.
I mean, it
still-
could.
You know, honestly, that's true because, like, you look at Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's like, yeah, $1 billion.
Right.
World of Warcraft sitting over in the corner going like, come back to us when you have like 4 or 5 billion.
Yeah,
Well,
but that's
yeah, but
like,
that's
But it's a-
one game
Right,
ever.
right.
you
But
know?
it's also on a long tail. Like, World of Warcraft made a lot more than $1 billion, but it made that over like a decade.
Yeah, let's also look at how
And-
many games tried to make
Well,
World
when
of
was the
Warcraft and
yeah,
failed.
when was the last?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
actually lost a ton of money and almost bankrupted the company.
Everybody
because they tried
chased
to
that
make a
model.
World of Warcraft.
Exactly.
So that was like a one. That's like the example
that's
of Angry
still-
Birds. That's like
but-
using Angry Birds as the example of all mobile
That's
games.
still
Yeah, exactly.
part of the economy. I mean, a lot of people point to the failures in the industry that haven't been able to mirror World of Warcraft's success, but that's still part of the economy. That's money that gamers are spending. And as far as like the business side of this goes, most business people will agree that that's money that will still be spent in the industry once World of Warcraft fades away. So there's no reason not to try and chase after that money.
Or why not just have DLC aesthetic changes?
Well, God, did you just tell me that I should have DLC stuff?
Aesthetic changes. I said aesthetic changes. Or I mean, like say like Dark Souls. Obviously that's something I know well. Or Skyrim.
Yes.
You know, like they will make a DLC content update and people will buy it and they make a lot of money.
But they also have like those on sale now if you get it at this time, and that's when I get them.
So
Like for $2 or whatever.
Game of the Year edition.
you know what else is depressing though, other than
What's depressing,
deep
Dave?
down?
What's depressing?
That Hiroshi
Wait,
Yamauchi.
before we go to him, I want to say that I'm excited that Pac-Man is doing multiplayer.
Okay.
Okay. That can,
Does
that
yeah, I don't even just.
Well, wait. Did Pac-Man DX, the XBLA one, not have multiplayer?
I don't know, but this one.
I guess it didn't.
They announced it that.
I guess it's more just
returning
competitive
multiplayer.
leaderboards.
Asynchronous kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
like competitive leaderboards,
Yep.
which I love that stuff.
Just wanted to mention that.
No, they should.
Good at games.
Yeah.
So what was depressing, Dave?
Yeah, no. Now good news. I mean,
So now from the
Now
good
we've
news.
now that you've totally
Now
lost
turned you
your
off.
momentum.
Yeah.
Let's go down. No, it's
Okay.
fine. I'm glad you brought it up. From now it's a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah,
We're making
yeah.
a roller coaster.
Go
So,
from a happy yellow sphere to a dead guy.
so yeah, Hiroshi Yamauchi who sadly died this week. He was the former president of Nintendo, and actually the president of Nintendo when Nintendo became what you know Nintendo as.
As a
Absolutely.
video game company instead of a card.
So he was there when they were a card company. He was the one who stopped it from being Nintendo trading cards, turned it into Nintendo as a company name, and then experimented with sex houses. Nintendo sex houses, yes.
Well, love hotels,
Love
Yeah,
love
love
hotels,
hotels.
which is
Yeah.
different than sex
Hey,
houses.
I love
he's
hotels.
Japanese.
you gotta
Yes.
put the word love in there.
Yeah,
Love hotels.
emotion.
Love hotels are
experience.
different than brothels. They can
It's-
operate as brothels as
it's
well, but they
quite
are different.
They are different. They are. They are
John is like
different.
the preeminent expert on this. It's like, just so you know.
Well, he twirls his mustache.
No. It's
can operate in both spheres at
this is a
once.
whole thing. When people find out about that in relation to Japanese culture, they automatically kind of like lose their nonsense, and it's something that you kind of have to explain to people who don't know, because it does make
John's
sense.
been
Right.
spending the
Okay,
last
anyway,
year
point is-
explaining that
Right,
to the
right.
California
Point
authorities.
is,
Thank you.
yes.
My brothel.
I love hotels.
Well, we can't have love hotels here. Well, we do, but they just like rent rooms by the hour.
Point is, a love hotel is different, but the point is though that he was one who implemented like, all right, let's try it in toys, let's try out Game & Watch, and that's how Game & Watch got started. And then he was the one who spearheaded and got the NES going, which was a huge risk for the company.
Yeah.
That didn't quite pay off for them.
Not at first.
No, it did. So I mean, the NES. So he was the one behind everything, and both all these super positive and negative decisions, which we would talk about as well.
Yeah, there's a
But
lot
there
of people
was-
pointing out he was a generally, like within the company, he was a
dracon-
polarizing figure. So it
Outside
wasn't-
the company,
yeah.
he was a draconian nightmare.
Yeah, he wasn't a 100% likable person apparently.
And to a degree, everybody in
Well-
this room and everybody in the chat owes him a thank you for really
Thank
bringing,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
For everything.
Rest in peace.
well, I mean, it just really illustrating that
Anybody
video
dying
game, that
is
there's a
sad.
viable market for video games. Because, like, when he got into that space, we're coming off of the crash, right? Like, Atari just being run into the ground. People thought there was zero value proposition there. Nobody, like, it was crazy to get into that space. And he boldly went into it. And he's largely responsible for the console ecosystem we have
Is he the
now.
Steve Jobs
So,
of
Draco-
video games, though.
So draconian or not, I'm grateful to the fact
Well,
that
no,
you know,
I mean, I think there's both very
he's a
positive and
visionary.
negatives. That's why we're
Absolutely.
talking about both. But I mean, I think all of us, our childhoods were based off of his decisions.
Played
so,
a lot of Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh my God!
Yes.
I was like, yes, I love Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
You look a little bit like Soda Popinski today in the shirt.
Are you saying I'm very red in my face right now?
Cut and you know, just,
I think it's the orange
I
light.
am drinking
Yeah.
my soda pop.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah, soda pop. It's too bad they had to change that. I don't know. Actually, soda pop Pepsi is a great name. I
was
like
got-
that more than the alcohol thing.
There's a bar in San Francisco called Soda Popinski.
really?
I think we
That's
should
great.
head up
We should
there
go
at some point.
That's awesome.
Agreed.
That's such a great game. But yeah, like anything like Mario, Zelda, you really owe it to him, regardless if you like his
Yep.
business like style or not. It was all based off of him spearheading and getting NES going. I don't know if he was the one who picked up personally or chose to pick up Shigeru Miyamoto, but he
According to legend, yes.
So according to legend, he was the one who went ahead and picked up and chose Shigeru Miyamoto.
Okay.
So again, the reason that we have great titles like Mario, Zelda on NES is because
when he passes, that's when my heart's really gonna just like die.
Yeah.
Like, a part of my childhood didn't die.
that didn't happen. It's never happening. He's gonna live forever.
He's the Highlander.
Part of my
Yeah, he is the Highlander.
They will hook his brain into a computer and keep it going.
Yeah, they're gonna cryogenically freeze him before he's really dead, and then bury him.
We
under
cannot lose him.
Nintendo Land, and bury him under Nintendo Land for the day that he'll be resurrected.
He's just the thing about Shigeru Miyamoto is he also just seems like the nicest guy, too.
Right?
I know.
He really seems like
Who
the
knows,
nicest
though?
person.
He could
Just saying.
I don't know who knows, but, he seems that way.
But seriously, the dead guy. Let's go
seriously,
back.
the
Let's
dead
talk
So we should
about
talk.
Batman.
We should talk about his business practices. So when it first started, I think it was actually really good because after Atari and how much crap was coming out on Atari, his business practice was the Nintendo seal of approval, which was to have you had to get Nintendo seal of approval, which was on the game to have your game come out. And I think, and from that end, I think that was
while producing a whole shitload of first-party titles.
right. Well, we'll get to that.
Does this
But as far-
Nintendo game get the
we'll
Nintendo
talk
seal
about that.
We'll get to that. But as far as the seal
I
of
don't know.
But as far as the seal of approval goes, I think that the industry needed that. And actually, it was something when the Wii came out. I think the Wii needed that. I think the Wii needed a seal of approval.
Oh, that honestly,
Because there's so much
Yeah.
crap that came out of that. I think it was actually something that needed, and sometimes you do need that. But we should also talk about the flip side of that, which, John, you were talking to me about the other night.
Oh yeah, the Nintendo business. All right, well, so this is kind of interesting to go along. So Nintendo's earlier business practices were if you were a they really pushed their own stuff. If you were a third-party developer and you came to Nintendo and you wanted to release your game on their console, basically they said this: you have to sign a 2-year exclusive contract saying that you will only release games on Nintendo consoles from here on, and we will dictate how many cartridges of your game will get printed, which was always significantly less than the Nintendo first-party games. And if your game happened to threaten a Nintendo, first-party games sales, your shipment could mysteriously disappear.
Or your game could be repurposed and changed into something completely different, like that Rare title.
You know what, though? Like, it does make you wonder, though. There were really big games like Mega Man, which blew the hell up. Mega Man 2, I think, got incredible sales.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
So, I
Mega
mean-
Man.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, if they can't have been as bad as some people talk about them as, though, if something like Mega Man 2 could have happened.
It didn't happen all the time, but it happened with more frequency than people would like to admit. I mean, so much so that Nintendo enforced really, really strict guidelines as to what content could be on there. They
Well, that's good,
creatively
though.
controlled. Well, yeah, at
was
first
good
it
at the
was.
time.
At first it was for the 8-bit and the 16-bit era was great, but that's why that's one of the reasons why everyone jumped ship from Nintendo to Sony.
It's because everybody
in the
wanted to
32-bit
make
era.
Bible Adventures, and they were sad that they couldn't release it with the seal of approval, and they had to release it otherwise.
Sure.
Bible Adventures, if you guys remember that title for the NES.
Nobody
Yeah,
does.
Yeah, but the thing is, as John was bringing up, the point is, though, the main thing is that they kept up this business practice through Super Nintendo, through N64, and that was when it started to bite them in the butt, when there started being good other systems that people were like, well, I don't want to have to deal with this. I'd rather go to Sony. I'd rather go to
That was the dawn
Microsoft.
of like the Sony systems,
Right.
And the competition coming in with the Xbox. And
I mean, again, it still did pretty well
Xbox
compared to
360.
Sega, so I mean, that's worth saying.
Hey, Sega does what Nintendo don't. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
another thing this
No,
week.
you know what I'm saying? Sega! Sega!
Are we talking about this? But another thing this week is we roll on to other business news with big video game dinosaur companies, Sega purchases,
Oh, yes.
Index Holdings, which is the.
Which is what we were talking about in Quick Hits. Really
I
soon.
forgot about that.
Dave's got it.
I don't have my rundown in front of me. That's why. Okay, moving
Sorry.
on. Quick hit. later
I
on.
was eating brunch with all you guys instead of
This is
printing
the
out.
rundown. It's a rundown right
It was
here.
my own fault.
Video game brunch.
But yeah, I think he was a very polarizing figure. But at the end of the day, though, I think every gamer, no matter how you like his business decisions or not, I think you owe him respect for the for the fact
Oh my
of
gosh, yes.
he really is the reason that we play games like we do.
Yeah.
Amen.
So that said,
Ta-da.
on that positive note,
Yeah.
Hiroshi, and way to remember him.
Moment of silence for Hiroshi Yamauchi. Can we get that?
No, this is a radio show, and people will think that the radio has stopped working if we do
I said
that.
moment of silence. I mean, like, figuratively.
Yes.
Yes.
we should do-
Yes.
yeah.
A figurative moment of
Figurative
silence.
moment
I like
silence
it.
covered by ramblings.
it.
Covered by
Grant's
nonsensical
ramblings. Go.
No, but you know what, though? Yeah, we should, for actually, now that I think about it, like, yeah, that's a good idea. So,
That's cool.
moment of silence.
Done.
Moment.
Okay.
So,
God, you can't,
the
like,
worst
honestly take
moment of
my-
silence
yeah, I was like, all right, we got 2 seconds in.
I really don't.
But Hiroshi Yamauchi, like I said, and like we were talking about, he really is a legacy that is worth remembering.
Yep.
So hopefully this will actually, like, a lot of people probably don't know who he is, and hopefully this will bring out who he is for a lot of people and a lot of gamers out there. So with that said, positive note, gaming moments of the week.
Ooh, all right.
So let's start with Grant.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I thought it was going to me.
My gaming moment of the week. I can't remember what I did last week, but Lost Planet 3 is my gaming moment of the
You didn't
week.
do
You
that
said
last
last
week.
week?
Yeah. Was I even here last week?
Yes.
You're always here.
Where are we right now?
My gaming
Way to
moment of the
Rachel
week
your
is
moment there.
Is Lost Planet 3. If the game has been sidelined by a lot of critics, a lot of people who enjoyed Lost Planet 1 as it's a singular type of game, and then Lost Planet 2 kind of lost its way. Lost Planet 3 is a complete reimagining of the series. It's much more of a Western game. It's not an arcade game like the original Lost Planets. Like, you cannot encapsulate the experience of Lost Planet 3 into an arcade experience like you could the previous Lost Planet games. People need to go out and buy this game. I know that right
kidding.
now, a lot of other people, the attention is being grabbed by a certain shooter that we talked about at the very beginning of this episode, but Lost Planet 3 is just utterly amazing. The narrative, the characters, the writing, the voice acting, the graphics, it's like it is an all-star game that came out of what I consider now a marginalized and what a lot of other critics had marginalized that series.
So riddle me this. So why are all the middling reviews? Because this game, like, objectively was reviewed kind of as a mid-tier game, and you're the only, like, super glowing positive review I've heard, and I trust your opinion a lot. Why did that end up?
I think you have to look around. I think a lot of other people are reviewing this game based on its other previous 2 releases, and then also on what other games are coming out right now. I mean, it came out in the face of XCOM and Saints Row, and just before probably the biggest game of the year, maybe even the biggest game of the next 2 years.
No, Dark Souls 2 is coming out next year, so relax.
But I think that it takes a while to get into it, and it's obviously a different type of experience. I enjoyed playing MechWarrior on the PC back in the 90s. So I enjoy this because you get into a mech and you get to rumble around in a mech, a giant mech for the entire game, and then you jump out of it and you fight as a normal snowbound soldier.
Okay, so succinctly, it was review. I got those kind of mediocre reviews because of release schedule context.
I'm still planning on writing a review of it this weekend. Because it is honestly a long game too. It took me close to 18 hours to finish it. So there's a lot to do in the game. It's expansive. I haven't read any reviews. What are the scores that you're seeing?
I mean, kind of mid-70s, pretty much across the board.
70. I mean, I've seen a lot of reviewers say that like Grand Theft Auto didn't like necessarily deserve to get 10, 10, 10, 9.5, 10, 10, 10.
Highest rated Metacritic game of all time.
I know. I think review scores are essentially like handed out like, I don't know, candy nowadays.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Sometimes it depends on the game, but
I
like,
would say that for me, it's closer to the 75, 80.
a lot of times it's like
surprising.
I feel like with Grand Theft Auto 5, honestly, regardless of how amazing a game it is, no matter what, if a reviewer didn't give it a 10, they'd be like, "Oh shit, if I'm not giving it a 10."
Yeah,
They have talks about that. When I was
oh god,
when I was
this
with
week has been
G4
absolutely horrible for that game and the reviewers. Like,
Well, let me
I've
just
actually
say,
been
like-
shying away from wanting to write anything about it, critically speaking, because
you'll just get
flamed. Yeah, you can't say you disliked anything about it
But-
because you're gonna get.
No, it's funny, at G4, if
the
there's a
negative
game-
comments will overshadow any positive reaction.
If there was a game that seemed like it should get a really high review and the reviewer was going to give it like a 2 out of 5, they would literally like have a talk and sit down and be like, okay, do you really think it deserves the score and why? And
I
they would
kinda
have
like
to kind
the
of
way
review it to
Kotaku
make
does-
sure
I like the
it
way that
deserved a
Kotaku
lower
does
score
these
if they
big
thought they'd get
games.
screwed over by it.
So they'd really challenge that review to make sure that they had a concrete argument as to why it deserved the 2.
Yeah.
I think that's a good practice.
It's fine, but I'm just saying, like, I'm sure with Grand Theft Auto 5, every company is doing that. Like, IGN's probably like, if anyone wanted to give it a 9 instead of 10, they're like, wait.
Would it go the
But
other way
I
around too?
specifically like the way Kotaku does some of these larger games that they know every single person on the staff is playing. Why not bring in some of the luminaries, the people that you like, hearing their voice on other titles, like and like get a meta review where you
Would it
have
go-
like more than one
Would it
person
go the other
giving
way
their
too?
quick opinion.
Like if a game kind of sucks and has bad score, and then someone wants to score really high, they're like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, I
what
mean, I'm
this
sure.
kinda
I think
stuff,
Yeah.
multiple voices kind of. I mean, with a game like Lost Planet 3, there's like actually a couple of review sites that didn't go over it because it had been so completely marginalized. It had been written off by a lot of reviewers and a lot of gamers for that matter. So I think that people should go out and try games. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason GameFly
Well, okay,
exists.
real quick, the
There's a
Lost
reason
Planet
that
3,
Redbox
because we got to
exists.
move on, but Lost Planet 3 compared to Dead Space 3, real quick, because
One of the I'm kind of getting ahead of my review for the game, but one of the things that I was specifically mentioning was that it does. I had a tidbit that I was writing in my head about this. It does Dead Space better than Dead Space did.
Dead Space 1 or Dead Space 3?
Dead Space 3.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Wow.
cool,
All
cool.
right.
All right, so Patrick, what is your moment of the week?
My moment of the week is Grand Theft Auto, and here's what I'm going to tell you about Grand Theft. It has to be
I'm
Grand
so
Theft Auto.
surprised.
I know. We're like literally every other night we're like, did you see this? Did you see that?
Yeah.
So my moment of the week was actually. So the level of detail, it's a very specific, so this is non-spoiler, it's one of those emergent gameplay moments, but I live in Hollywood. I live kind of, up in the hills a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I live in
Okay.
Hollywood. But like one of the things that like, so
He's
I
a
run,
rich bastard. Anyone wants to rob him, go for it.
$4 million house was
press
Yes.
X
Favorite
to
restaurant
make
is
it-
Franklin. Is
Yeah,
Birds on Franklin.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
press
find
X to
his
make it
ass
rain.
there.
X to make it
He's
rain.
the large ginger man.
See, I live really near the Griffith Observatory. So this week, and they've got this really neat manicured lawn, right? Like if you've ever been there, it looks out over all Los Angeles. I
Yeah.
run near that
Yeah,
regularly.
I know
It's a
exactly what you're
beautiful
talking about.
run. It's a beautiful view. A lot of people in Los Angeles have seen
A
it.
lot of people must hate it they lived in that house.
So this week I got to actually take something I've always kind of wanted to do, was take a Mustang on the lawn and do donuts and then drive my car off of the hill into a swimming pool of a house below. And Grand Theft Auto is just, like I said earlier, it is so dense and it's just absolutely, the sheer scale of this game is unbelievable.
I think that alone just made me want to play Grand Theft Auto 5 more than anything else. The fact
Well-
that I live here, I'm like, wait a second, I could do crazy crap like
That's
that
a
in the
good
place I
point.
live.
No, it's so surreal. So, like, living in Los Angeles, people have a very different experience driving this game, playing this
yeah.
game, because you'll see
the
landmarks.
thing, I'm like-
So
you'll see
true.
Beverly Center, you'll see the Scientology Center, you'll see
You'll pass them all in
downtown.
like 2 or 3 seconds.
And I can be like, screw you, LA traffic!
Totally, it's fantastic for living, and you know what? Intuitively, you're gonna know your way around. Kinda, you know what Burbank is and where.
Kind
so
of.
funny.
You
it's
can head
so-
in general
Yeah.
directions,
Yeah,
but
you get it. You know where
the
the
area is messed up as far as like continuity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, they take
perfect.
like iconography of the Hollywood sign and like
There's more attention to
Tower
detail.
Records.
There's more attention to detail given to where the Urban Outfitters is properly within Hollywood area and the Beverly Center than there
Wait,
is. Like,
Grant, how do you know Culver City? Oh, you take Beverly.
So-
I had to do this SNL sketch. It only makes sense.
You guys
You're-
should fly a plane and look at it through. It's really cool.
it's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
This
a small plane, a prop plane.
Yeah.
It's like really fun.
Also, this past week, I was driving and escaping from some people, and I cruised through the WB lot, and like there just happened to be extras walking from one studio to another wearing like alien costumes.
you
And
hit
as
them?
I ran them over,
Yes.
Franklin yells out the window, he's like, "Ain't making a movie today!" And then just cruised through the other side. And then again later that afternoon, I drove by the studio, and I'm like, "This is just awesome." So again, Grand Theft Auto is the level of
And
detail.
then you saw people in alien costumes walking out in
right,
real life. You're
exactly.
like, whoa!
So no, it's incredible the level of detail. Like for example, you go to there's a mission where you ride a bike with your son, and you choose a bike, and there's like 8 different types of bikes, which means every one of the character models is modeled differently on the bike. Little touches, like when you turn the engine off in your car, you hear the
is
metal
more-
cooling.
Magic of games
It's
now.
amazing.
It's more now than it was in even Grand Theft. I mean, obviously than the last San Andreas, but it's more now than Grand Theft Auto 4.
Orders of magnitude more.
Everything was kind of like it was a cliche in Grand Theft Auto 4, meaning, yeah, of course they're gonna say, hey, I'm walking here, but everybody knows that there are things that there's nothing in Grand Theft Auto 4 that I didn't get. Meaning, like, I was familiar enough, not being a New Yorker, that everything was a cliche.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
There are things in this Grand Theft Auto 5 that you will only get if you're, like, a Los Angelino.
I'm all for that.
No, I think people,
It's like the
people
movie.
understand Los Angeles.
It's like this is the end. Like there's
Where
so
are the
many jokes
Asians?
there for them. They're all in Tokyo Town or
They have a
K Town. They're
little-
on
they have a
K Town.
little
Right.
They're on K Town.
Yeah,
There's a
little
lot
soul.
more Asians in LA, though,
good.
saying.
I just encourage people to play this game, man. Like the level of detail, like even like when you turn the car off and the engine cools and it kind of pings, that you know, astonishing. Anyway,
Kari, your moment.
yes.
My moment, thanks to you,
I thought it was
is,
going to be Grand Theft Auto 5.
No. It's actually Luigi's Mansion.
Whoa.
Dark Moon.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, because after his passing, I was like, I should play this game. And whenever I get home late, and it's hard for me to start Grand Theft Auto because I know that if I start playing it, I won't get off and I won't get any sleep. So I, take my 3DS, which is very, very convenient to take to my bed, and I play with
Or
it.
to the bathroom.
And
See,
or
there
the
are
bathroom.
other places you can take them in the bathroom.
Or,
There you go.
or you draw back and you play
I
in the
love playing my
bathtub,
3DS in bed. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So yeah, Dark Moon was my fave, and I got stuck in one area. I'm not gonna specify, and I kept dying and
Is
dying.
it a mansion?
Yes. And the problem with this game, as we were talking about,
Yeah.
is that there's no saving points. You basically have to pass the whole level or complete it, or you die.
It's
and you
very
start
mission
all
structured.
over. And I was always at the end of this mission, and I kept dying. 4 times I died, and I got so frustrated. And then I texted Dave. I said, I keep dying, and then I passed. So.
No, it was actually like
Finally.
she was like, I'm gonna have to show you a game control live because I didn't know exactly what she was talking about. Like, all right, cool. And then like right when we stopped texting each other, apparently.
I passed it.
Hooray.
Nice.
So
It's a good
luck
feeling.
charm.
Good
But
feeling.
Go play Luigi's Mansion or go get a 3DS.
I think what it really says is that my gameplay skills transcend through text.
Yeah.
You text me and you automatically get some of my gameplay skills.
You're like Neo in the Matrix.
I'm like, hold on, let me just send some gameplay vibes your way.
It's so funny because sometimes you get so frustrated. You're like, maybe I'm just like positioned wrong. So you start positioning yourself correctly. Anyways, 3DS is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love playing my 3DS in bed.
In
Totally.
this, the year of Luigi.
It is the year of Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi.
Yeah, it's not the year of Luigi. It's the, as John says, the year of Luigi.
Yeah,
Yeah, Luigi.
Speaking of that, have you guys
What?
seen like the 10-minute mockumentary called Finding Luigi?
No.
You guys should check this out. It's on Nintendo's website. It's this mockumentary.
It's on Nintendo's website?
Excellent.
Yeah, and their YouTube channel. Like, it's by Nintendo, and it's this mockumentary where they go through and they actually interview. Well, first off, they frame Luigi as this like legend of parkour and free running, and then they go through and they're interviewing like actual like legendary parkourists
That's
about like
awesome.
acting
Is
as
that the word for
Luigi.
them?
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
I gotta check that out.
Parkourist.
Parkourists,
I like
parkourers.
Luigi
I
more
think
than
like
Mario.
I think you could call them a track core if you do parkour. It's called a tracer, a track core.
Track horror.
Track whore.
I'm serious. Like
That's
it's
a
TRACEOUR.
something
Crack-core.
something in
Sounds like a track
French.
core.
Who cares?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right.
What about you, Dave?
Sorry, John or Grant. Here's my moments of the week.
Yeah.
It is. I get
Dark
it.
Souls trailer.
No, it's not the Dark Souls trailer. I don't think it's appearing on the screen.
Well, it's not on the screen for you guys, but it is getting streamed out
Okay,
to
so it's
people.
not getting streamed out to people. So this is Epic Name Bro, and he is my favorite for
Excellent.
Dark Souls commentary and all that. And while Dark Souls 2 had no news necessarily from the trailer, there's nothing you could pick up. Epic Name Bro, who's a legend when it comes to Dark Souls, and
What, did he
if you like
name
Dark
drop
Souls,
you?
you need to know him. No, he played. That would have been even crazier. If he played Dark Souls 2.
My
at-
more epic than mean bro, Dave.
He played Dark Souls 2 at TGS, and there was a new build from the E3 build that I didn't get a chance to play at E3, and they had some new stuff to check out. So if you actually want real info on Dark Souls 2, you should check out Epic Name Bros. He has like a 23-minute talk about a 20-minute demo he played for Dark
Fantastic.
Souls 2. But he explains in detail all the changes he noticed and things that I didn't notice at E3 because they didn't allow it. There's some new things that he was able to find out
He was
about.
actually able to go into the select screen.
He was actually able to go into the menu and select screen, which I tried at E3 and you couldn't. So he found all these cool gameplay changes. Menus.
Selection.
Well, you can find out what the hell the stats do. We had no clue. This is the
There's
first
a
time.
user interface. You heard it here first.
So Epic Name Bro has a new video. Plus he's the guy for Dark Souls and hasn't done a video in a long time. So you should check out this video if you like Dark Souls. And if you like Dark Souls 2 or you're excited about it, Epic Name Bro is the guy to check out. So you should check out this video.
After
My one.
you.
Yeah, there you go.
After
There
Dave
you
Control
go.
Live.
Right.
But no, definitely Epic Name Bro actually way above Dave Control Live. Check out Epic Name Bro. Check out this video. So
Check it.
that is it. That was my moment. I love all of his content. So.
And then just quick thing. Have any of you guys
Plus
heard
you
of
get to see Epic Name Baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah, at the very end you do get to see
Yeah, actually,
the
there's a 1 second quick flash, like those horror flashes that they do.
Yeah.
He does one of those like halfway through. It's just like a quick flash, like that of his baby. It's like, wait a second.
That's so bizarre.
You know, like a
Yeah,
quick
that's
like
quite
horror flash of your baby.
Right.
It's a prerequisite for being a YouTuber. You got to be a little bizarre.
So, anyways, that is my moment.
Maybe.
John, what is
All right.
your moment?
Have you guys ever heard of Kerbal Space Program?
Yes, I have.
Well, that is my gaming moment of the week. For those of you who out there who have not heard of this, this is a game. It's a simulation game, and well, you guys can't see, but everybody like on the screen
Scaring me.
can see
I'm sorry,
your little
our spacecraft's
Kerbals.
about to crash.
Yeah. So basically, it's a realistic, as realistic you can get, simulator of what it is to build and launch rockets into space. And you can the full
Or
game is
try.
only the full game is only like $23, and you can download the demo. And apparently in the full game you can like explore the solar system, where in the demo you can only like aim to kind of get to the moon. Or if you're a real asshole like I am, you can shoot that little green bastard straight into the sun.
How are you doing it? Like, have you successfully landed a ship just yet? Have you gotten them back home? How's it coming?
Are you
No, oh,
the,
God, no, I have
North
not.
Koreans of the space program? Or are you
no,
Japan
like, I
or
can-
Russia or
I'd say
United
more
States?
Russia. More Russia. I
Yeah.
can get my guys into space, but I can't get them
going
back home
They are
safely.
not coming home. This is a one-way ticket, son.
But can you get them to the moon yet?
I've not actually hit the moon. I think my rocket always weighs just a little bit too much, that I burn too much fuel in the first stage is my my constant problem. So if you have the second, it's Kerbal Space Program. That's Kerbal Space Program. Just Google search it. Try the demo. It is well worth. And you can see like many people who have not built their rockets right, which is what I'm showing. All of the explosions and the poor little guys down there. Yeah, sometimes they have looks of horror when things are going bad, and sometimes they have like these smiles on their faces, like they've serenely accepted their fate.
It's funny because since John's in the booth right now talking about it and he doesn't have this stuff on the screen, it literally just seems like John just talking to himself about it. Because we can't see any of this right now. He's talking about it. Just see John like hunched over his computer like, this is amazing.
I don't know why, but like it's not coming out on the screens out there. But of course, everybody watching at home can see it.
Which
So
is
that's
the
the
more
important part.
thing.
Yeah.
And actually, I was just doing some work with Inside Gaming this weekend. They have some Kerbal Space Program and stuff, so I want to give them a shout out. Inside Gaming on Machinima. Check out their videos on Kerbal Space Program. They have some funny Let's Plays of Kerbal Space Program if you're curious about it.
That's
So-
hard to say 3 times fast, isn't
Kerbal
it?
Space Program, yeah, it is.
Kerbal Space Program.
I'm gonna
Kerbal
prove
Space
it out.
Program. Kerbal Space Program.
So we should-
oh,
So we should also talk
Okay,
about.
John, get
so-
yourself a cookie.
So we should also talk about.
let's have some of your cake instead.
So we should also talk. Oh yeah, let's have some cake.
Wait a little later. Wait a little
Instantly,
later.
Dave just shifts gears instantly. Yeah, cake.
Cake.
Thought it
Cake.
was a lie.
So what we should also mention is our viewer Alyssa White was kind enough to send us or make a video about Game Control Live.
Absolutely.
John has queued up. So
Thank and kind of give a shout out to the people of Game Control Live. And Game Control Live has changed my life so much. And
So I'll
It's a
go
show
ahead and let it
that comes on
stop
every
there. But
Saturday
you
on
guys, if you Alyssa White, thank you so much. You guys should check out her YouTube channel. I believe it's just Alyssa White is her YouTube channel. So pretty easy to remember, Alyssa White. Check out her YouTube channel. But thank you so much for the video. We all watched it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We definitely it struck
Loved
our
it.
hearts.
It was,
for
yeah,
sure.
it was very touching, and
was very touching.
I think it's indicative too of just the entire community. Alyssa's fantastic, but like literally
Yes.
everybody that chimes in, we've got
Yeah.
the best viewership.
No,
It's awesome.
it
It
definitely.
was good to get that video because it came just before all this ridiculousness with Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
So, and this week has not been particularly congenial in the gaming community.
But yeah, I'm just definitely glad to have that the game chat's somewhere you can go and people can go and hang out together
Yeah.
and have fun. So
Like-minded individuals.
yeah, like-minded
Come and
individuals.
hang out
so.
with us.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually, if you guys want to join Alyssa and join all of us on the game chat, we do this show noon Pacific time every Saturday.
There's a
if you guys-
chat?
on AfterBuzzTV.com. You can join the live chat, and that's why I'm calling you guys all out. But yeah, check out Alyssa White's YouTube channel. Definitely, she does a lot of box openings, talks about video games,
Yeah, she
some
has a
blog
lot of
blogs.
cool
So
things.
yeah,
And she has a really cool room too. Her room is awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Baller ass room. That's some baller ass swag in there.
That room.
I just noticed since Rachel's not here, this show has not been nearly as sexual as it usually is.
Yeah,
Because every single time that sex gets brought up, it
Dildo
always
bat.
comes back
You
to
would think-
Rachel.
Let me fill it in.
You would think the Asian
I can
would
give
know
it.
about
I can,
sex.
I
You
can
would.
actually.
yeah. Could you,
Well,
could
tell
you,
us about
could you
tentacle
up the
rape
sex?
for a little
Grant, no
I
one
can
wants
fix
to
this in a
associate
second.
you and
No,
sex in the same sentence.
I
Dude,
can
no.
fix this for a second. Like, I can get in all of our prerequisite amount of sexual innuendos real quick. Dildo bat. Vagina.
Doesn't feel the same.
No, it's not even close.
Swinging the phallus.
Well, when you're
Bingo!
but it's because you have no excitement to it. You're just like, this is something people do.
Penis.
Oh my God! Oh, wait,
Penis.
let me try this one.
Penis.
Let me try this one.
Penis.
Oh my God! I was able to change my car to pink using my iOS application in Grand Theft Auto 5 in the first couple of minutes while playing the game.
Do you want to buy it? Can you buy that? Can you buy that? Do you want to buy it? Can you buy it?
There's a puppy. You get to play with a puppy.
All right, so
There we did it.
Yeah,
That's our prerequisite.
let's jump on quick hits. Quick hit
do
stories. So, some quick motherfucking hits for you guys. Sega acquired Atlas. That's a quick. That's a
yeah,
short
That's
one.
what I wanted to
Done.
talk about.
Next question.
I'm kind of
No
sad.
way.
I'm sad about this.
Honestly,
I am very sad.
What's
Actually,
that?
so this was something that we knew that they were interested. We know that for a while. They officially acquired them this week.
We're talking about Deep Down being. We spend 10 minutes talking about free to play and Deep Down being a free to play game, when in all likelihood it's going to be like, oh, okay, it's another Capcom game, or we don't know if it's going to be successful. But here we are, Sega, which is, for all intents and purposes, did we think that was a company on the rise, or a company that was like, oh, kind of
No,
iffy?
not on the rise at
Yeah,
all.
so they go out and acquire the company that owns Atlas outright at this point, for
Yep.
the most part. And like, that's pretty big news, because there are a lot of Atlas games that I love, and there's also a lot of Sega games that I love and that I would like to see Atlas developers working on, and then vice versa.
I would like to see Atlas
games.
developers working on every Sega game at this point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
a good
maybe we
idea.
could have Atlas work on Sonic games.
I was just gonna say, I'd love
Yeah.
to see their treatment of that.
So, all right, so basically, it's Sonic gets a super speed from doing cocaine. That would be an Atlas game.
I'm in.
Yeah, I like that.
Is that Persona-esque?
Oh yeah.
Is there Coke in Persona?
There's not
No.
Coke in Persona, but in Persona 3, your method for summoning your magic powers is you shoot yourself in the head with a gun-like object. So
Yeah.
Whoa. Another
Also-
great Atlas game, Etrian Odyssey. Not many people play that one. It's really cool for hardcore games.
Catherine.
not-
Oh my
not a-
God, an entire
Was
Catherine.
Catherine our Atlas too?
It was.
Yeah, an
Oh,
entire
Catherine was out.
Catherine
Yeah.
remake with all the Sonic characters.
Yeah, with it's going to be a furry version of Catherine.
stop
Dave-
giving them
bring it up.
ideas.
So Dave, you keyed on that. Like, it was a title that not a lot of people played. Not a lot of people play Atlas games at all. I mean, they were
But they
ostensibly.
don't cost a shitload to make.
Yeah, but they were
too,
bankrupt,
so
right? So, like,
Yeah.
to me, this isn't like, it's interesting to a degree from an industry perspective,
They're
but
a
like,
niche developer, but a niche developer that had a lot of. Okay, yes, they didn't break the bank selling their titles,
Right.
But they produced a lot of quality
Well,
content.
so
So
you're
I
excited-
bring
I
that
think-
quality over to the lack of quality in Sega's games.
so you think there's a
then-
lot of potential in this
I do think
acquisition?
that's. I do find that to be an interesting
So yeah, we'll
merger.
talk it. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So there's some
Or
potential there.
acquisition.
Yeah.
Because Sega has been, as you guys said, as Grant said,
Yeah.
going downhill and downhill. And it's really just the quality of their content. It really is. And Atlas is, as Grant said, it's always good games that don't necessarily
Yeah.
sell like hotcakes, but the people who play them. And like hotcakes do sell well because they're pancakes and pancakes are amazing. But Atlas makes great titles.
Yeah.
Everyone who plays their titles, there's always a game like, that Atlas game is amazing.
Simply put, the features of Atlas's games are missing from Sega, and
Yeah.
vice versa.
So-
Meaning
Yeah,
the marriage of
culturally they
those-
So-
seem very different.
So it's funny to me because when I first heard Sega acquiring Atlas, I was just like, oh crap. crap. That means all their games are going to start going downhill
Which
too.
is the
But
which is the
if
opinion
they-
of most of the internet.
But if, as you say, if it's that idea of what if Atlas starts making Sega games
and
instead,
vice versa, that'd be nice.
well, we can just leave Sega out of the making. Well, they can just keep producing.
Sega should not approach anything Shin Megami Tensei. Not even close.
Let's have them room John's favorite game.
Persona 4, I'm sure they could do it.
So a lot of interesting Ouya stuff going on too. A lot of
Yes.
controversy.
I
Grant's been
didn't
all
think we
over
were going
this.
to talk about this.
Why
but,
would we not talk about this? This is huge.
Did you not read the list?
Oh my god. No, I mean, like, I had not recently.
I sent that last night. They
Last
read
night.
it recently.
Ouya remodified their Free the Games fund. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
So they were dedicating $1 million to this faulty fund, which basically the only people succeeding in the fund were shucksters and business people and lawyers in Silicon Valley.
Well, outline what the fund was and what the
fund
rules were,
was
because I think it was
$1 million fund that would be given to Kickstarter campaigns that successfully made over $10,000 and applied to the fund, and then they would match the amount that was made. So if you made over 10,000, you made like 50,000, they would match your 50,000.
Okay.
So it's
and then
literally like you get double what you made off your
and
Kickstarter.
then the highest earning one would get an extra 100,000.
Okay.
They ran into problems right away, and the problem with running into problems right away is that they didn't address them right away. Meaning, after August, it goes into September, and then there's this one company, Mogo Text, which is made $175,000 with 183 backers. So the average backing is 10,000.
Right.
Like it's insane the amount that the people were gaming the system, and there was no word from Ouya and Julie Ehrman, and they finally came out and addressed this issue almost a month after the almost a month after the
Which would be
the
this
event.
week.
Yeah. Finally they made the adjustments to the contest, which actually would help them maintain some sense of
And some of
transparency.
these games did not look very good that were
No.
getting that type
Well,
of
but like
funding, too.
Absolutely horrible.
I think it's a bummer that it got gamed, but I think the policy like that Free the Games fund is like really well intended, and I don't understand like the maliciousness with people.
Some of it is well intended.
What do you mean? They're trying to fund indie games. Like I mean,
They're trying to fund indie games, but they're not doing it in the spirit of indie games. Like
They
everything that they
weren't.
want is like they want exclusivity, and then they talk about they talk about funding brilliant ideas, but then some of the most brilliant minds in indie games are left out of it.
So first of all,
It's
I could not disagree more. It's a 3-month exclusivity, right? So that's not
Yeah.
really. It's a
Well,
timed
It's like
exclusive.
1 month for every $10,000 or something.
Something-
like that.
oh, is it? Okay.
It can be pretty restrictive if you make enough money.
So the spirit of the policy seemed like really great to me, and unfortunately, I think the people who are the assholes in the scenario are the people gaming it. I still think they should get paid because that was outlined. I mean,
It
like
took her too long it took Ouya and her too long to come out and admit that they were being had and being messed around with. And even in the process with the announcement that she released this week, she's not really like saying, like she's saying, we tried to do what we could for indie gaming. Well, there's a lot of other companies which have done a lot better at providing funding for indie games. Like Kickstarter in general should be held up on a pedestal for being able to provide that type of funding to, like, I've seen an indie game make $200,000 this week apart from that fund.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's a lot better things going on in indie games than what the Free the Game Fund is actually providing.
I guess the way they executed the campaign was a problem.
People were
They were
calling it out right away.
they were
like,
slow in
Why isn't
messaging.
there like some kind of rule that prevents like people from putting in their own money just to pull out money from the fund?
But
It
explain.
was
I agree there was a
ridiculous.
loophole, but like I don't understand. Maybe you guys can help me. I don't understand the vitriol. People are so angry at them.
Because you're messing with something that works essentially on the PC. They're messing with a community which is tight and which provides their own support and funding.
I'm kind
The
of-
indie game community has riled around Kickstarter already. So to come in to co-opt that mechanic and try to say like you're the one that provides the best indie gaming experience, and to have it be so full of holes and faulty and so to see business people and lawyers taking advantage of this system, which is supposed to be about the people off the bat.
I'm kind of sort of on Patrick's side, honestly. Like
it's regrettable.
Well,
for
it's like,
sure.
yeah, it's sad, and I'm glad they finally addressed it. And if they hadn't addressed it, I think that's where the issue would have been. As they hadn't been for a month, I think that was the issue. Like,
she was too
the
quiet
fact that
for
people
that
were gaming the system. I think it took far too long to do something that they needed to do.
Amen.
But I don't think that they're necessarily the assholes in this situation. I think the assholes are the people who are gaming the system.
Absolutely.
And then, like, honestly, you don't need to say, like, yes, I will go buy Ouya's thing, I will take the $200,000 and be exclusive. It's very much a choice thing. And if an indie developer wants to take advantage of it and do it, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to.
Amen.
Yeah.
Preach, brother.
That's why I don't find it to be an issue. I think they need to address it in their.
Like
the thing I will
5
say though, I think they need to address it in their campaign as a Kickstarter that they're going to do that, because I would be pissed if I funded a campaign.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh well, we got 50,000, so all of a sudden we're gonna switch and be Ouya exclusive.
There were some of those
then I would be pissed.
183 people that gave their money to that Mogo Text game, and honestly, $173,000 for a shitty mobile football blitz game wannabe, and like to have people that gave their own money to that, not knowing that most of that 180,000 is made through like almost like a laundering scheme of sorts.
But again, this was something that should have been addressed the first week, and they didn't, and that was the issue.
That's the miss.
Yeah.
That was the issue.
Yeah.
I just didn't like.
But again, it should be the true asshole's the person who
The
did
last
that.
thing I would say on this is that she's just so unapologetic. Like, she could have come out and addressed this within the first couple weeks. She could have said, yes, we know there's some problems. We're going to put it on hold, because they provided themselves with that out early in the campaign. And the rules, if you read it, if they think something's going wrong, we can put it on hold for a little bit. She should have put it on hold after the first 2 weeks, after the first game got kicked off of Kickstarter because there was something fishy going on with the fundraising process.
I
She
agree.
should have come out and said something. And even in her video that she released this week, she's like, you know, when we're doing stuff that's revolutionary like this, we're allowed to make some mistakes and we're allowed to change some of this stuff. And I'm here to tell you we're changing some of this
Sounds like a
stuff.
bro.
Not here to tell you that we made mistakes.
Right.
We're just here to tell you that we're changing
responsibility to
stuff.
admit it was a mistake. Like, I mean, from
That
corporate
is her
messaging,
responsibility.
absolutely
She's
not.
a figurehead.
They're making some changes, right? Like, she doesn't need to be. She's not culpable. Again, I think the spirit of this was great. There was off. We're clear that they missed the messaging, and
Right. I mean, I agree that it was just more of just that. They should have done it right away.
Yeah.
amen.
They should have addressed it right away. They didn't. But now it's addressed, so hopefully it will be better, and I'm still not going to get Ouya.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
Either.
So, Diablo 3.
That's the story. That's the story. We're not getting New Year's.
So, Diablo 3 is slowly dying. I was being dramatic. Not really. It's more of their auction house. They're taking down the auction house because people have been bitching about it constantly, and they're getting rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys care? Like, for me, I thought the auction house was interesting from a business model perspective, but for me, it always kind of undermined the intention of the game, right? You grind to get better loot, to kill more monsters, to get better loot,
they figured that people were going to do it anyways,
Yep.
and they're like, might as well make a profit off of it as opposed to everyone else making money off of our game.
Totally. I mean,
Which
it's a safe place to do it too,
Sure.
right? Like, you could sell them other places and get gamed and scammed and whatnot. So I loved all of it, but undermining the key kind of mechanic of the game never quite made sense to me.
Well, again, that's just one of those things that we were talking about before with the free-to-play thing, where it's just kind of messing with game mechanics in general when you start doing that and introducing real-world money. It just does. But, I mean, some people like it so they don't have to play the game and grind away. So some people do enjoy that. But, I mean, you know what? I don't know. I guess to me, I almost feel like it'd been there for, what? Diablo 3's been out for a couple of years now?
Yeah.
And now they're just getting rid of it? To me, it's just like, all right, 2 years? Like, if they're getting rid of it now, why? Like, the people who've already accepted it's a mechanic, it's almost like too late to get rid of it.
Well, they just did their console release, so I think that it's tied directly to the console release. I think that because that real money auction house doesn't exist on the console version, is that they were going to try and mirror.
And
Watchtower based on the chat saying I stopped playing Diablo 3, I got bored, I played StarCraft 2 more.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's my thought too.
I think you're bang on though. They reset the loot table when they did the console release, and so it's just time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They fixed a lot of other problems with it too, because honestly, I saw the need for the auction house because I would play over and over and over again, and I nowhere near saw the kind of loot drops that I saw from the original Diablo releases.
Okay.
Yeah, it was much harder for me to assemble equipment. Like, I had the equipment in slots for 10 levels. It was just too long. I had recycled my equipment more quickly in other Diablo games.
So, let's go ahead and move forward to Xbox One, which the only real announcement is that you can't put it up like a tower.
It's not a tower.
Which is not
It's
a tower.
not a tower.
Like the PS2, or So I mean, hey, they just say we do not recommend you hold it up like a tower. Which, all right, hey, I mean, I guess some people probably would be affected like that with depending on how your living space
Yeah,
is.
sure.
in your room. They might be like, oh shit. But I mean, I don't know. Like, just put it under your cable box or over your cable box, on top of your cable box.
It's a $500
Ain't
piece
no
of
thing.
hardware. Buy a table for
Well,
it.
okay, put it on, like put it on top of your cable box or something.
Buy a $60
Now that you have cordless,
IKEA table.
I mean, I think it's less of an issue now that you have cordless controllers too. You have cordless controllers,
Sure.
you can find a place to put it.
Yeah.
But it's something worth noting. So for those of you who wanted to put up like a tower,
Do it at your own. Do it at your own risk.
Do it at your own
Expo.
risk.
Yeah.
They do not recommend it.
It's like a VCR.
So MLG, they got an upgrade to their roster. So former Houston Rockets owner, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, GM,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
General manager is now going to be he's now going to be behind MLG and trying to work his magic in MLG. So before everyone panics and says, "No, sporting guy, he doesn't understand it," even though MLG is a sport,
might.
he actually has said in his announcement
that are associated with it that are like have a background in sports.
well, he's also
like,
saying, as a quote from him, his name is Daryl Morey, is as a personal fan of esports and a competitive gamer myself, I've been closely following the growth and evolution of MLG for years. So, hey, if he's saying he's a competitive gamer, I mean, I believe him. I don't think he has any reason
I can
not to
say I'm a
that.
Pegasus, doesn't make it true.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but you know what, though?
John.
I don't think there's anything against it, and I don't know. I don't think he would necessarily say he was a competitive gamer. He could just say he could literally just say that statement as a personal fan of esports, and then people would be like, oh, okay, he's a fan of esports.
Yeah, I don't see why you'd be lying about that.
I don't think there's a reason for him to lie about competitive gaming.
But who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. They brought
Right.
on somebody who's clearly
obviously don't
talented
own
in
your own
sports
I'm sure they know
marketing.
what they're doing.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's anyone saying anything negative. I was just saying, just in case there is someone who's
Like a
like,
grant.
Yeah.
like someone who's like, no, now sports and video games
Right.
mixing. Like, I mean, yeah, you have a professional sport. You want someone who knows what they're doing for professional sports.
If they were the only sporting organization for esports, then I would be worried. But no, there's enough options out there that I'm not worried about one person getting in on it.
But again, the factor is though, if he really is a gamer, if he's saying he is, then I think
honestly, I
he.
could care less.
Yeah, I don't care. Like
MLG
It does help that he's a
MLG could
gamer,
bring on
I think.
a well-known sports broadcaster for all I care.
Marv
as long as they
Albert.
school them in like how
you
video
do it.
games are played and like.
But I'm sure
like,
there was a
give-
factor. The fact that
Some of
he's
these
a
people
gamer.
that broadcast and do so well for broadcasting in StarCraft, like they started on StarCraft and they've stayed on StarCraft.
this guy's
through
on the
to their success. They are not like all-inclusive gamers that have played every game under the sun. Like they stay within their ecosystem, and just
Regardless-
getting somebody that's in that ecosystem.
Points.
is
I
good.
agree with what you were saying, Pasher. I
Yeah.
think the fact is you need to bring a professional in who knows how to handle this type of industry.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And that's what it sounds like they're doing. So maybe some good news for MLG. So final quick hit for you guys is that Blizzard Activision, we talked about how they did this little loop around with the stocks. They bought out all their stocks
Yep.
so they could
Led
separate
by
from Vivendi.
Bobby Kotick
Yeah.
to buy out stocks.
So they could separate from Vivendi. Vivendi wasn't happy about it, and now the Blizzard Activision leaving Vivendi has been halted at the moment.
Yeah.
So Vivendi was like, no, we're bringing in lawyers, we're doing all this. So they do not want to lose Blizzard Activision.
Specifically, I think
They don't want
around-
to, for some reason, they don't want to lose the profits of World of Warcraft and Call of Duty. I don't know why.
Yeah, why would you?
But
So
But there's
confused.
focus. The details of the legal team being brought in is they are looking specifically to point at his involvement in the leading the buyout.
right.
Was that it's too beneficial for the execs at Activision Blizzard, and that
It's
it should
too
be
beneficial that they would own their own company.
Right.
I think they're just pointing that it's almost like at this point, considering they have so much purchasing power, it's getting close to insider trading. And they will still be a publicly traded company after the buyout. So it's kind of like, well, maybe it should be done with a little bit more oversight. So they're bringing in like a legal team to make sure all their interests are being represented well enough.
But currently halted. So we will keep on posting you guys with updates about what happens with this war between them. So with that said, guys, that will wrap up this week's Game Control Live.
It went fast.
It went by fast, but it was an hour
just
15
an hour and 15 minutes, man.
15 minutes late.
That's how we do.
That's how we do.
That's how we roll.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you want to watch us live, be part of the live chat, the game chat as we call it, come join us every week, Saturdays
Come
at
be a
12 p.m.
game
Pacific
controller.
time. AfterBuzzTV.com is the location. Please do check out our YouTube channel, Game Control Tube. And do check out us. Where's the music, John?
Well, because we usually do viewer responses and questions right now, so I was waiting for you to do that.
We can do that over some nice.
We can still do that over some nice music. So,
all right, fine, whatever.
Just don't pick a hard grunge track to go out on.
I had a weird week. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
John, I even got this song for you. Because John's been playing Wild Arms remake.
So what was our questions last week?
So, anyways, let me just continue wrapping up. Game Control Tube, though. Check us out at Game Control Tube. Our Twitter is at Game Control Live, so make sure to check that out. Guys, question for next week is Tokyo Game Show. What excited you about the Tokyo Game Show? What are you looking forward to from the Tokyo Game Show? What do you want to see happen from the Tokyo Game Show? All things Tokyo Game Show. That is the question. And I will pull up some comments from you guys in just a moment. But before that, guys, I'm Dave Klein. At the Dave Klein is where you can find me on Twitter.
What?
You can find me at. Well, why are you
I didn't know you were. Oh, we'll do comments afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I have a new iOS 7. I don't know how the hell it works. So you have to give me a second.
It's glorious.
Dave is technologically impaired, so Kaori, your Twitter?
You can find me at KAORIOUS, Kaori's. And if you like dogs, I do a lot of dog stuff too.
Yeah, you do. Grant, where can people get a hold of you?
Who doesn't like dogs?
Bad, evil people.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. Evil people. You can find me on Twitter amongst a lot of other evil people at GAK.
I love your Twitter handle. You can follow me at P to the Dees, that's DEES, and I host a podcast weekly on iTunes. It's called Pixel by Pixel, and it's more conversational and equal level of shenanigans as this.
Yes.
And you can find me at @NowQuick, where I commonly post up little videos of Peter Dinklage apparently performing on Sesame Street. Did anybody else see that? It blew my mind.
I didn't see it, but I'm gonna have to watch the video on your channel, or in your post from Now Quick. So 3 Bow Wow commented last week on the YouTube. I feel pretty. I feel like you're pretty too. 3 Bow Wow 22. Gerard Rayford saying God of War Ascension's part was hard due to the fact, and this was a response to Rachel talking about how she thought it was easy, God of War Ascension. But he says God of War Ascension's part was hard due to the fact, and the developers admitted to this, was that a bug in the game caused your level of difficulty to rise 1 level from what you are on. So I played it on normal and increased it to hard on that level.
I could definitely see that. I didn't, I saw his comment, but like that's genuinely what my playthrough felt like. I played it on normal. It felt like I was playing it on hard.
So Bogey Golf says the guy in the booth needs to chill, John. Sorry, I wasn't gonna read that comment, but I was just reading it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think he was doing it in response to the whole intern thing.
I think it was just the intern thing where we was just like non-stop. Michael Mayo saying that we had good opinions, talking over each other a little more, so we tried to talk less over each other this week. I hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you thought. And this song is Wild Arms by Jamie Maxwell. Jamie Maxwell, incredible acoustic guitarist. Check out his works. It's incredible. So guys, with that said, we will see you right after this for Game Control Rewind on Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Coming up next. And we'll see you next week for Game Control Live. See you guys later. Peace.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.